You woke up this morning, not by coincidence, but by divine design. Heaven leaned close as your eyelids lifted. The light that entered your room was not ordinary light, it was a witness. The moment your heart whispered its first thought, the throne of heaven took notice. You didn't realize that this morning, before you even spoke a word, your faith testified on your behalf. You see, not everyone rose with conviction today. Some woke up heavy, others numb. But you, though weary, still chose to rise. That choice shook realms. The smallest act of getting up when everything tries to weigh you down is not small in heaven's eyes. It is the sound of unshakable faith echoing through eternity. While the world moves on unaware, the spiritual world pauses when a chosen one moves in obedience. This morning, when you decided to keep believing, when you whispered a quiet "thank you" before the day even began, heaven heard it. You may not have seen angels standing beside your bed, but they were there marking the moment, recording the proof of your endurance. You don't need to shout to prove your loyalty. The true power of faith is not noise, it's persistence. Every sigh, every tear, every decision to still trust after disappointment becomes a language heaven understands perfectly. And this morning, heaven understood that your trust remains firm. You didn't know it, but there was a test in the air today. Darkness waited for you to complain, to crumble, to give up. But you didn't. You pushed forward. You got up. And that act alone caused a tremor in the unseen world. Faith like yours terrifies darkness because it cannot comprehend peace that remains when everything falls apart. When God looked upon the earth at dawn, he saw countless souls, but his eyes stopped on you. You were not found perfect, you were found faithful. You rose despite the unanswered questions, despite the waiting, despite the silence, and heaven said, "That one belongs to me." You've been through valleys that others wouldn't survive. You've faced nights that could have swallowed you whole. Yet this morning, your spirit whispered again, "I still trust you." God, that whisper reached farther than any shout of victory. The Father saw that your faith is not conditional, it's covenantal. It stands firm whether he says yes, no, or wait. Do you realize what you proved today? You proved that your love for God isn't based on circumstances. You proved that storms can't silence your worship. You proved that even after loss, betrayal, confusion, or delay, you still believe. That is why heaven called your faith unshakable. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. This morning, those words became yours. You didn't just survive, you kept the faith. You proved that you are not moved by emotion, but anchored in divine promise. The race continues, but heaven has already written today's mark beside your name, faithful under fire. Now, as you stand on the threshold of this new day, let this truth echo in your heart. Heaven saw you. Heaven approved you. And heaven is preparing to reward you. You have passed an invisible test that few recognize. That's why the atmosphere around you feels different right now. The peace you sense is heaven's acknowledgement. Take a deep breath. You didn't wake up by accident. You woke up as evidence that light still wins. You proved something eternal to the one who called you. Share this message so others can awaken too. Like this message, if your spirit agrees. Subscribe for the next word from heaven. And comment 777 below as a prophetic declaration, "My faith is unshakable." Your faith has become a signal fire in the spirit. The unseen now recognizes your endurance, and every force that once sought to drown you is backing away. God has marked this day as a turning point, a moment when heaven confirmed your strength before the nations. You are no longer hidden, you are rising. You didn't just survive the test, you defined it. The very storm meant to destroy you became the soil where your roots deepened. From this day forward, you will see clarity in confusion, beauty in ashes, and purpose in every delay. Heaven has written your name among the steadfast. You carry proof that trust still lives on the earth. Each breath you take is a declaration that God is not finished with you yet. The same power that raised Jesus from the grave flows through your spirit. You are a living testimony, a warrior of endurance, chosen for this exact season. Now, step into this day, knowing you have already won. Your worship has been heard, your tears have been counted, and your faith has been rewarded. Go forward with holy confidence, and let the world see what unshakable faith looks like. Comment 777 once more as your final seal of victory. You didn't realize it when you stepped into the flow of your morning, but you were walking straight into a test one heaven designed not to expose your weakness, but to reveal your strength. Sometimes the hardest tests are the ones that feel invisible, the moments when nothing dramatic happens, yet everything inside you is being measured. This was one of those mornings. The unseen pressed close, watching how you would respond when the world offered you a quiet storm instead of peace. It began with small irritations, interruptions, or unexpected silence, the kind of things that seem ordinary but carry spiritual weight. These are the tests no one announces, the ones that measure the position of your heart. Heaven doesn't always test you with big battles. Sometimes it's the little choices that prove whether you truly trust. And you did. You didn't even realize that you were standing at a spiritual crossroad when you chose calm over complaint, patience over panic. In that instant, the unseen realms recorded your decision. The darkness hoped for your irritation, for a small outburst that would open a doorway of doubt, but you didn't give it. You held your ground, even in silence. The test you didn't see coming was not meant to destroy you, it was meant to promote you. Every trial hides an invitation. Will you trust me when nothing makes sense? You answered yes, not with words, but with restraint. You didn't fight back. You didn't fold. And that quiet obedience was louder than any declaration you could have made. God sometimes allows these invisible examinations because they reveal what your spirit has learned through the storms you've already survived. Your endurance this morning was not a coincidence. It was the fruit of every midnight you've prayed through. You didn't pass the test by might or intellect, you passed because your faith has been refined in fire. When you face moments like this, the world sees nothing extraordinary, but heaven sees everything. Heaven saw you refuse the bait of frustration. Heaven saw your breath steady instead of break. Heaven saw your mind choose peace over panic, gratitude over irritation. That's what makes you different. You don't react from the flesh anymore, you respond from faith. The unseen world knows it. 2. Demons that once whispered chaos now recognize that you no longer bend to their tricks. They cannot provoke what has been purified. Your silence confused them, your peace frightened them, because peace in the midst of confusion is a declaration of authority. when you refuse to be moved. You announce, "My trust is anchored deeper than the surface." In that unseen moment, heaven wasn't measuring your behavior, it was measuring your maturity. There's a difference between people who know God and people who trust Him. You, chosen one, have moved from knowing to trusting. You no longer need to see evidence to believe. You simply believe because you've known His faithfulness too many times to doubt now. The test came quietly, but ended with a roar in the spirit. Because when you chose faith again, the atmosphere around you shifted. What was meant to weaken you became another stone under your feet. You are rising higher, one silent victory at a time. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 3, verse 19, "The sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He enables me to tread on the heights." That verse is the essence of your morning. God is not removing every obstacle. He is strengthening your steps to climb them. Every irritation, every disappointment, every moment of silence is training your spirit to walk above what used to trap you. The higher you climb, the less the noise below can touch you. This morning's test was not about your circumstance, it was about your response. And you responded with faith. You stood where others would have fallen. You kept your peace where others would have panicked. You didn't just survive the test, you redefined it. Now heaven calls you faithful. Quiet victories like this build spiritual authority. Each time you trust, your influence in the unseen grows stronger. You are not who you were a year ago. You are sharper, wiser, steadier. The tests no longer break you, they confirm you. One day, others will look at your peace and wonder how you do it. They won't know the countless invisible mornings when you passed heaven's tests in silence. But heaven knows. And heaven is preparing your reward. The same God who tested you today will soon reveal what He has been shaping within you all along. Your quiet obedience this morning echoed louder than any sermon. Heaven doesn't forget such moments. The very stillness that felt ordinary was a spiritual roar that declared, "I trust you, Lord." Even without words, you passed a hidden divine evaluation. What seemed like just another day became sacred proof of your faith's maturity. The unseen world took note, and the Father smiled. You've entered a deeper level of trust, where peace is your weapon and silence becomes your victory. There are moments when you don't realize that heaven is watching every step you take. Not because God doubts you, but because He wants to record the proof of your obedience. Today was one of those moments. The smallest actions you performed, your patience, your kindness, your decision to forgive were all written in heaven's book. You didn't see the angels around you, but they stood close, taking note of each quiet act of trust. Every time you chose love over irritation, faith over fear, light over bitterness, your obedience became an offering. The spiritual realm moves when you obey, even when no one applauds. God's kingdom does not measure you by your noise or public image, but by the posture of your heart in hidden places. The world celebrates the loud and the visible, but heaven celebrates the faithful and the unseen. Obedience is not always a grand act, it's often a whisper. It's in the decision to hold your tongue when provoked, to speak kindness when wounded, to keep serving when unacknowledged. That kind of obedience shakes the foundations of darkness because it reveals true devotion. You've been walking through a quiet proving ground, and every step has been recorded. There is power in hidden obedience. You may not feel its weight, but the spiritual realm recognizes it instantly. The angels who walk beside you report to the throne, saying, "This one still trusts. This one still listens. This one still obeys." You've been wondering if your faith matters. Heaven answers yes. Every unseen yes you give to God becomes a stone in the foundation of your destiny. You've been living what many only preach. That's why the warfare against you has been intense, because your obedience builds light that pushes darkness back. Hell fears the obedient because obedience proves allegiance. It shows that no matter what happens, you've chosen whom you serve. Even your silence carries power when your heart is aligned with heaven. When you obey without seeing results. When you act without applause. Heaven calls that worship. This is why angels stand guard around you. They are not protecting weakness, but guarding evidence. Evidence that your heart is loyal. And heaven's record is not symbolic, it's literal. In the courts of eternity, your faith has a voice. Your obedience has a testimony. What you did in secret will one day speak in heaven's hall as proof that you lived faithfully even when the world didn't understand. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, the word of God declares in the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22, "To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed is better than the fat of rams." That ancient truth still echoes in your life. You don't need to perform, you simply need to obey. Obedience carries more weight than ritual. It is not about perfection, it's about surrender. When you obey, you mirror the heart of Christ, who said, "Not my will, but yours be done." Today, heaven saw you choose God's will again. Maybe you didn't feel spiritual, maybe you just stayed quiet, stayed kind, or kept believing, but that was obedience. That's what moves heaven. That's what tells the darkness, you cannot win here. Every time you trust the voice of the Spirit instead of the noise of fear, you add another line to heaven's record of your faith. You may not hear applause now, but eternity already celebrates your name. Now, take a moment to seal this truth. Type "I obey" in the comments, not as a ritual, but as a declaration. When you write those two words, you're not typing to a screen, you're making a spiritual statement. You're saying, "I choose alignment over emotion, purpose over comfort, faith over feeling." That act becomes another record in heaven's archive of your obedience. You've been tested, measured, and observed, and heaven's verdict is clear: faithful. Every command you've obeyed, every act of trust, every unseen yes is shaping your destiny. God is not just pleased, He is preparing to reveal the reward of your hidden faithfulness. So, walk forward boldly. Let obedience remain your anthem, even when no one sees. Because when heaven records your life, it won't count your applause. It will count your yes. And today, once again, you said yes. When you type "I obey," you are doing more than agreeing with a message. You are stepping into covenant alignment. Those two words are a spiritual key that unlocks movement in the unseen. It is your public yes to a private God who has been watching your heart. Writing "I obey" declares that you will follow divine instruction even when emotions argue otherwise. It means you choose God's direction over your own understanding. Every time you make that confession, the noise of confusion loses its grip and peace takes its place. So don't hesitate, your words matter in the Spirit. Comment "I obey" below as your seal of faith. your signature of surrender, and your proof that heaven's will is your ultimate desire. When you chose obedience, the darkness felt it. Every act of faith releases a vibration that shakes the unseen. What you did in silence today caused ripples across realms that most will never perceive. The darkness, which once stood boldly against you, now takes a step back, not because you shouted louder, but because your stillness carries divine authority. You have learned that the true power of a believer is not found in reaction, but in restraint. There are moments when the enemy expects your anger, your fear, or your panic. Yet instead, you respond with peace. That confuses him more than anything else. The forces of darkness know how to fight noise, but they cannot fight stillness rooted in faith. When you refused to be moved by emotion, you declared that God's word holds more authority over your life than any whisper of fear. Peace is not weakness, it is warfare in disguise. When you remain calm in chaos, you proclaim to every spirit of confusion that you are no longer under their control. This morning's peace was not passive, it was a weapon. Your decision to stay grounded was not you ignoring the storm, it was you standing above it. You may not realize it, but every spiritual battle starts in the mind. The enemy rarely attacks with visible weapons. He uses thoughts, distractions, and false narratives to make you doubt your identity. That is why the peace you held today was so significant. It guarded the gate of your mind. While the enemy whispered fear, your spirit quietly answered, God is still in control. That response forced the darkness to retreat. Fear cannot coexist where faith is active. You didn't need to raise your voice. Your calmness became your sword. The spiritual realm recognizes authority by vibration, and yours now carries the frequency of heaven. You are learning to master spiritual warfare by silence, prayer, and unwavering peace. As the Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12, For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. That verse is not just doctrine, it's your daily reality. The attacks you've faced are not about people or situations, they are about your purpose. The enemy recognizes that your calling is increasing, and every time you pass a test, your authority expands. That's why the pressure has been heavier lately. It's a sign of spiritual promotion. When darkness backs away, it's not always because the battle is over. Sometimes, it's because your spirit has outgrown that level of attack. You've been promoted in the spirit, and old tactics no longer work against you. What used to break you now merely brushes against your armor. Your peace has become impenetrable because it's built on revelation, not emotion. You used to wonder why peace mattered so much. Now you understand. Peace is the proof of dominion. Anyone can praise when the noise stops, but only the mature can stay calm in the middle of thunder. You've entered that stage. Your stillness this morning was not emptiness. It was evidence that your roots have gone deep into God. And that terrifies darkness, because the enemy doesn't know how to fight someone who refuses to fight back in the flesh. He throws confusion, and you respond with clarity. He stirs chaos, and you answer with silence. He provokes reaction, and you choose stillness. That kind of discipline only comes from walking closely with the Spirit. You are no longer at the mercy of storms, you command their boundaries. Heaven trusts you with peace because it knows you'll use it as a weapon. You're not reacting from pain anymore, you're responding from presence. You have moved from defense to dominion. That is the transformation God has been building within you all along. Darkness retreats not because it fears your words, but because it recognizes your alignment. You are in tune with the King of Glory. Your calmness announces His authority. The more you rest in Him, the less access the enemy has to your emotions. You have become untouchable not because the battle stopped, but because you no longer fight them alone. Every time you choose peace, you reinforce your victory. Every breath of surrender is a declaration that you belong fully to the light. The darkness may try to linger, but it cannot stand in the presence of a spirit anchored in faith. You've learned what few ever master: how to fight without fighting, how to win without war. The silence you carry now is not emptiness, it's command. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere bends. The unseen recognizes the authority of one who has conquered chaos within. You don't need to prove your strength anymore. Your peace proves it for you. You stand now as living proof that peace is not passive, it's power wrapped in grace. The darkness recognizes your calm and retreats. For heaven's authority now moves quietly through you. When you carry peace, you also carry influence. Your presence alone shifts atmospheres now. The same way light silently pushes back the night, your faith alters everything around you. People may not always see it, but they feel it. Every conversation, every quiet moment, every prayer you release changes the environment. It breathes hope into spaces that forgot how to believe. You are becoming the evidence of God's consistency in a world that trembles with uncertainty. That's why your life is no longer just about endurance, it's about impact. You are a living message, one that says, faith still works, hope still lives, love still wins. When others see your peace, they are reminded that heaven's power still dwells among ordinary hearts. And yet, even as you stand strong, there is a gentle invitation from above. Share the light that carried you. What you carry was never meant to stay confined inside your story. When you share it, whether with words, with presence, or with small acts of kindness, you extend heaven's reach. The message multiplies through you. This message you're hearing now is part of that same divine ripple. It's a reminder, a spark, a small stream of light flowing toward every chosen one who feels alone in the dark. And every time you help that light travel farther, you become part of a much bigger story, one written by God Himself. There's a sacred beauty in giving, not out of obligation, but out of alignment, just as rivers flow naturally toward the ocean. Generosity is the soul's way of returning to its source. When you give, whether time, love, or support, you tell heaven, I trust you with what I have, because I know it came from you first. As Scripture reminds us in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 7, each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. Notice how the verse says, decided in his heart. True giving doesn't come from pressure, it comes from peace. It's never forced, it's chosen. Just as you've chosen obedience, you can also choose generosity as a language of gratitude. You don't give to earn blessing, you give because you've already been blessed. When you share this message, when you like, subscribe, or pass it forward, you help it reach someone standing on the same cliff you once stood on. You might never meet them, but your action becomes their reminder that heaven still speaks. You become a bridge between despair and hope, between silence and salvation. If this word touched you, let your hand become part of the river press, like so the current of light keeps flowing. Share it so another soul can find shore, and subscribe so the stream that fed you can keep returning. And if you ever feel led to go further, to plant a seed of support, to help sustain this stream of light, you do it not as a transaction, but as worship. Giving here is like adding oil to a lantern. The flame already burns, but your oil helps it reach the corners of the night where the light hasn't yet touched. Every drop keeps another heart from darkness. To those who feel called, you can donate freely, not because you must, but because you wish to keep the flame alive. Your giving is not payment, it's partnership. Like a gardener watering a growing tree, you nurture what once sheltered you. You are never under obligation here. What you choose to do is between you and God. The door is always open, but it is never locked. This space is a sanctuary for the willing, not a demand for the fearful. Your gift, whether it's your time, your attention, or your contribution, is sacred because it's sincere. Every light that continues to burn here carries the fingerprints of those who believed enough to keep it shining. You are one of them. Together, our small flames form a constellation, each share, each gift, each prayer, threads of starlight woven across the night. So let this be your reminder, your peace, your generosity, your faith. They are all connected. Every time you pour out, heaven pours back in. You will never lack what you release in love, because in God's kingdom, giving doesn't deplete, it multiplies. Your heart knows that giving is sacred rhythm, not duty. Every offering, whether a prayer, a word, or a seed, returns multiplied, reshaping both giver and receiver. Heaven watches not the amount, but the love carried within your gesture of faith. Like a lighthouse guiding weary ships, your generosity becomes a beam cutting through someone's storm. The oil you pour today may light a path for a stranger tomorrow. That is how the kingdom expands quietly, through hearts that still care. So keep your light burning, keep your faith flowing. Every act of kindness, every drop of love, is heaven's melody played through your hands. You are the vessel, and your giving is the song of grace. Heaven calls you faithful one. The unseen world has recognized what your heart carries. Every time you rise in faith, light flows from you like a river breaking through stone. You may not see it, but you are shaping spiritual history through consistency, through quiet endurance, through the simple decision to trust again. You've been walking through seasons where obedience seemed invisible, where your prayers echoed and no response came. Yet even then, you kept showing up. That's what set you apart. Heaven measured your perseverance and found it steady. You have proven that your love is not based on answered prayers, it's based on unwavering trust. Faith like yours doesn't need an audience, it only needs authenticity. That is why heaven speaks your name among those marked by endurance. The same hands that formed the stars now write your story with purpose. You have passed through refining fires, and each flame only purified you more. The angels who once guarded you through storms now stand behind you in celebration. Your faith has become fragrance before God, a scent of endurance rising from the ashes of what once tried to destroy you. That is why this moment feels different. Something inside you has shifted. You're not striving anymore, you're standing. As the Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 7, "But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him," that is you, the one who trusts when sight fades, the one who continues when others stop, the one who still believes that promise delayed is not promise denied. You have entered the territory of divine trust, where peace replaces panic, and hope outlasts logic. There's something powerful about being recognized by heaven. It's not fame, it's favor. God doesn't need crowds to confirm his chosen ones. He marks them in silence. That's why your journey has often felt hidden. You weren't being ignored, you were being preserved. You weren't being overlooked, you were being refined for revelation. Your life is a scroll still being written. Heaven is preparing new chapters that reveal what your endurance unlocked. You've earned access to grace that few understand. The tears you've sown are not forgotten. They are the seeds of tomorrow's breakthrough. Even now, there's a quiet invitation whispering through your spirit. Do not stop now. The same God who carried you this far will complete what he began. The oil of endurance upon your life is beginning to flow outward. It will touch others who are still learning how to stand. Your story will strengthen their faith. You are becoming a living testimony that endurance is never wasted. Every delay is a setup for divine demonstration. What once felt like silence will soon echo with God's affirmation. The enemy tried to convince you that your faith was failing, but heaven saw otherwise. Every tear, every prayer, every moment you chose hope over despair was a victory. You were not losing, you were learning. You were not forgotten, you were fortified. There is a crown being crafted in the unseen, not of gold or jewels, but of resilience and faith. When the time comes, heaven will place it upon your spirit as a sign that you endured the refining and came out radiant. You are one of heaven's steady lights, the kind that doesn't flicker when winds blow. That's why the pressure increased before the peace. Heaven was stretching your capacity to carry glory. And now that you've been proven faithful, heaven invites you to seal this moment in faith. Comment 444 below as a sign of divine stability. The number 444 represents foundation, covenant, and unwavering balance. When you type it, you're not performing a ritual, you're declaring that your faith is anchored, that you are established in God's plan. That number is a prophetic echo, the solid ground beneath your feet, the steady rhythm of heaven's heartbeat, reminding you that you are held, seen, and unshakable. When you comment 444, you are saying, I trust God's timing. You are declaring, I stand firm. You are aligning your voice with heaven's confirmation that your endurance is not in vain. The wind may blow, the path may twist, but the foundation of your faith will remain. You are built on rock, not sand. You are chosen, not by circumstance, but by calling. This is your seal of covenant. The same God who sustained you yesterday will reveal glory tomorrow. Heaven calls your name, not in whisper, but in proclamation. Faithful one, your endurance has spoken louder than any storm. When you write 444, you're not typing numbers, you're echoing heaven's rhythm. Each digit is a pillar of faith, Father, Son, and Spirit upholding your journey. It's a declaration that your foundation stands firm, untouched by fear, rooted in divine alignment. Commenting 444 means you agree with heaven's decree over your life. It's a spiritual handshake between your endurance and God's promise. A symbol that says, I'm grounded, I'm guided, I'm growing. Let this act seal your covenant of steadfast faith. The storm that tried to break you was never random. It was permitted so that strength could reveal itself from within you. Every wave that rose against your peace was secretly sharpening your spirit. You may have thought you were drowning, but heaven saw you learning how to walk on water. There is something sacred about storms. They do not come to destroy the chosen, they come to distinguish them. The winds you faced were not punishment, they were promotion disguised as pressure. Each gust tested your roots, forcing them to dig deeper into God. Every drop of rain that fell was watering the seeds of purpose buried within you. The enemy underestimated the depth of your faith. He thought that by surrounding you with chaos, he could silence your praise. But he forgot that worship doesn't depend on weather. The same heart that praises in sunlight can still whisper thank you in thunder. And that is what you did. You kept worshiping even when it hurt. You were never meant to live a stormless life. You were meant to master the storm. Heaven was not watching to see if you would escape it. It was watching to see if you would still believe while standing in it. And you did. You proved that faith isn't proven by comfort. It's proven by consistency. When the lightning flashed and fear tried to find you, you held your ground. You reminded yourself of every promise that had carried you before. You remembered that storms are temporary, but the word of God is eternal. And somehow, in that moment, peace began to rise again, not because the waves stopped, but because you remembered who commands the sea. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 4, verse 39, he got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. That same authority lives inside you. The storm bows, not because of who you are, but because of who stands within you. When your heart refused to panic, heaven saw Christ reflected in your calm. That's why the storm lost power. It met a believer who knew their identity. You've walked through seasons that felt endless, waiting for dawn to break. But even while the sky remained dark, something divine was forming beneath the chaos. Storms are midwives of transformation. They do not leave you as they found you. When the clouds clear, the ground is always richer, the air purer, and the heart stronger. Every trial has written endurance into your soul. You now carry a peace that cannot be faked, a resilience that cannot be borrowed. You know what it's like to be hit and still believe, to lose and still love, to wait and still worship. That kind of strength doesn't come from comfort, it comes from covenant. When others gave up, you kept walking through the rain. When the world questioned your persistence, heaven celebrated your patience. You didn't just survive the storm, you transformed inside it. The same wind that tried to knock you down ended up lifting you higher. What was meant to sink you became the force that carried you into purpose. Look at yourself now. You've come out stronger, clearer, wiser. The same eyes that once saw darkness now recognize divine patterns. You've learned to find revelation in the rumble, beauty in the breaking, and purpose in the pain. You're not who you were before the storm, and that's the miracle. Heaven doesn't waste pain, it refines it. Your struggle was never senseless. Every tear you shed watered your future. Every disappointment carved room for greater grace. The storm you faced was not evidence of God's absence, it was proof of his investment. He saw more in you than comfort could ever produce. So, when you look back on what you've endured, see it through heaven's eyes. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. You weren't losing control, you were learning surrender. Every storm has an assignment to strip away what's fragile and reveal what's unshakable. Now, when the winds blow again, they will find a soul that cannot be moved. You've learned the rhythm of divine resilience. You know how to stand in the rain without losing your flame. You understand now that peace isn't the absence of storms, it's the mastery of them. You have become the calm in the chaos, the still point in the swirl, the living evidence that faith endures. And in the silence after the thunder, heaven speaks your name again, not as a victim, but as a victor, not as one who barely survived, but as one who carries authority. The storm thought it was breaking you, but in truth, it was crowning you. Now, the clouds that once frightened you have become reminders of power. You no longer fear the storm, you forecast it. What once threatened to drown you now obeys your command. Because faith has taught you how to walk on waves. There were times you thought no one was watching, that your quiet faith went unnoticed, but heaven saw it all. Every silent prayer, every unseen decision to forgive, every moment you stayed kind when bitterness seemed justified, it was all recorded. The throne itself watched, not to judge, but to testify. You were being observed by heaven, and the verdict has been written faithful. You see, heaven doesn't measure success the way the world does. It doesn't count how loud your voice was or how visible your victory appeared. Heaven weighs hearts, not headlines. God's gaze was never on what you achieved in public, it was fixed on how you responded in private. And you passed the test not through perfection, but through perseverance. Sometimes the greatest victories are invisible, the battles no one sees except you and God, the ones fought between midnight and morning, when tears become prayers and silence becomes surrender. Those are the moments heaven calls holy. While you wondered if you were doing enough, heaven was whispering, "You're doing exactly what I asked. Keep trusting." It's easy to feel unseen when obedience bears no applause. But heaven is not absent, it is attentive. You have been living under divine observation, not as a test subject, but as a beloved creation in whom God delights. He watched as you stayed faithful in the small things, even when the big promises seemed far away. That's what qualifies you for more, as declared in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 6. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father, who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. Those words have been fulfilled in your life repeatedly. Your hidden prayers have built invisible bridges between your heart and heaven's throne. Every time you thought no one cared, the Father's eyes were on you. When you prayed alone, heaven leaned close. When you forgave quietly, angels took note. Your unseen obedience became your crown. While the world celebrated loud victories, heaven celebrated your quiet endurance. You never realized how many storms were stopped because of your silent intercession. You never saw the chain reactions your faith triggered in the spirit. But heaven saw, and heaven responded. Sometimes you wondered why God didn't speak louder, why the signs seemed faint. But he wasn't ignoring you. He was trusting you. Silence from heaven doesn't mean distance, it often means confidence. God trusts the mature to keep walking even when the map fades. You've proven that kind of trustworthiness. You've kept your heart steady when others turned away. Heaven's observation isn't surveillance, it's intimacy. The same God who watches over galaxies watches over your heartbeat. His attention isn't distant, it's detailed. He counts the hairs on your head, the sighs you release, the hopes you refuse to let die. You are never invisible to him, you are infinitely known. This is why your path feels sacred, even when it's lonely. Because heaven walks with you in silence. Every step you take is followed by the gentle rhythm of angelic feet beside yours. When you thought you were alone in the valley, heaven was tracing your footprints in glory. You've been under divine study, not to be tested, but to be trusted. Each season has revealed a new layer of your strength. Each challenge has revealed another reason why God chose you. You've shown heaven what faith looks like in motion, not in grand gestures, but in daily decisions. Every unseen act has eternal weight. The time you helped when no one was watching, the moment you forgave without an apology, the days you believed without evidence, all of it counted. You have built an altar of consistency, one quiet brick at a time. Now, heaven has completed its observation and declared its conclusion. This one can be trusted with more. You have proven that faithfulness doesn't need witnesses. That's why new doors are opening not as a reward, but as a recognition. You've earned heaven's confidence. In the coming days, you'll begin to feel it, a subtle shift, a fresh strength, a deeper peace. Not because life suddenly became easy, but because you now know you're never unseen. The same eyes that watched you through pain are now watching over your purpose. Every silent moment of trust was a seed, and the season of reward has already begun to bloom. Heaven has finished watching, and now heaven moves. The same presence that recorded your faith will now release favor. You were not forgotten, you were being filmed by eternity, waiting for this divine unveiling. Heaven has always seen you not through the lens of your failures, but through the glow of your faith. Every hidden act has painted your name in light across eternity's pages. Proof that trust is stronger than recognition. Now, the season of observation shifts into manifestation. What was once unseen will begin to bloom publicly. Heaven's reward is never rushed, only revealed in perfect time, and that time is drawing near for you. There are moments when the voice of heaven doesn't thunder, it whispers. You've known that whisper before, the one that arrives in your stillness, right before despair tries to speak louder. That whisper isn't coincidence, it's rescue. It's God cutting through the noise to remind you that He's near. You've learned that guidance rarely comes wrapped in lightning, it comes wrapped in peace. The whisper that finds you in the middle of chaos isn't weak. It's the sound of divine authority clothed in gentleness. It comes to redirect you, to pull you back from edges you didn't realize you were approaching. There was a time not long ago when you almost gave up. The weight, the silence, the confusion, it felt like too much. You didn't tell anyone, but heaven heard the heaviness in your sigh. That's when the whisper came, maybe through a verse, a memory, a small act of kindness, or this very message. It reached into the ache and said, "Don't stop." That voice was not your imagination. It was the Spirit reminding you that you still have purpose. You were one thought away from collapse, and the whisper steadied you. The world might have told you to harden, but heaven said, "Be still." And in that stillness, grace entered again. As the Gospel of John records, chapter 10, Verse 27. My sheep listen to my voice, I know them, and they follow me. That verse is your story. You recognize the whisper, not because you're perfect, but because you're connected. Sheep don't follow noise, they follow familiarity. You followed peace even when logic screamed the opposite. And that's how you found your way back to safety. You didn't need to understand everything, you just needed to respond. And you did. That small yes, that gentle surrender, became your rescue. Every time you listen to that still, sacred voice within, you avoid traps the enemy sets. You walk in rhythms that only heaven understands. The whisper saved you because it was truth wrapped in tenderness. It wasn't loud enough to frighten, it was soft enough to heal. That's how God speaks to the chosen, not through panic, but through peace. He doesn't shout to compete with chaos, he calms it instead. You may not realize it, but that same voice is still guiding you daily. It nudges when you drift, comforts when you cry, warns when you wander. The whisper doesn't demand, it invites. And those who respond find themselves standing in divine alignment. The whisper of God is both compass and comfort. It tells you where to go and reminds you who you are. Every time you pause to listen, heaven adjusts your direction. You are learning that divine communication is less about hearing sound and more about sensing presence. In the moments when your heart races, when confusion grows loud, that whisper returns not to explain everything, but to anchor you in peace. It doesn't promise easy roads, but it guarantees guidance. And that guidance has never failed you. This is why stillness matters. The enemy thrives in noise, but God speaks in quiet. That's why you've been drawn to silence lately. It's not emptiness, it's preparation. The whisper grows clearer in the calm. When you protect your peace, you protect your connection. There are countless lives waiting to be redirected by that same whisper. Your testimony will become their map. When they see how you listen, how you obey even subtle nudges, they'll learn how to hear him too. You are becoming an example of spiritual sensitivity, proof that guidance is real, that God still speaks. And now, as you read these words, that same whisper is returning not in thunder, but in clarity. It's saying, you are safe, you are seen, you are still chosen. Take this moment to respond in faith. Let heaven hear your agreement. Comment "I hear" as a declaration that you recognize the shepherd's voice. When you type "I hear," you're saying more than words, you're confirming your awareness. You're telling heaven, I am listening, I am willing, I am aligned. That phrase becomes your key to deeper discernment. Listening isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The strongest hearts are the ones that stay soft enough to hear. So keep your spirit tuned. The same whisper that rescued you will soon reveal what's next. When you write "I hear," you affirm that your spirit is awake to heaven's direction. Those two words are not empty, they are a bridge between your heart and God's voice. It's your way of saying, I am listening even when the world is loud. Typing "I hear" becomes an act of surrender. It tells heaven that you are no longer guided by confusion, but by peace. Every time you declare it, the noise around you loses power, and clarity begins to rise again. It is your spiritual way of opening the door to guidance. So, comment "I hear." Let those words become your anchor. They mark you as one who listens, one who follows, and one who never misses heaven's whisper again. You have walked through fire and rain, And yet here you stand stronger, softer, wiser. The flame that once threatened to consume you has instead refined you. Every scar you carry glows faintly now, not with pain, but with purpose. You are no longer marked by fear, you are marked by fire, a fire that purifies, not destroys. There's a quiet beauty in the aftermath of trials. Like a forest after the storm, your soul now breathes with new life. Old leaves may have fallen, but roots have deepened. What you lost in noise, you've regained in clarity. You are learning that not all fires come to burn, some come to reveal gold. You are that gold. Heaven has watched you endure the furnace without bitterness. You didn't curse the heat, you let it shape you. That is why peace flows differently through you. Now it's no longer borrowed from circumstances, it's born from within. You are not merely surviving faith, you are embodying it. As the Apostle Peter wrote in his first letter, chapter 1, verse 7, "These trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold." That's what has been happening to you. Every hardship was refining. Every silence was strengthening. Every disappointment was distilling. You are the purified version of every past version of yourself. Heaven doesn't see your pain as wasted, it sees it as investment. And now, that fire that refined you becomes your light. Others who walk through darkness will look toward you and find their path illuminated. Your endurance becomes their hope. Your story becomes their survival manual. You carry not only your testimony but also the power to ignite faith in others. That is why this message exists, not just to comfort, but to multiply light. When you share what has strengthened you, you extend the reach of heaven. The flame that once seemed small in your heart can become a torch in another's night. You've noticed it, haven't you? How words of faith have found you exactly when you needed them. Someone else's courage became your confirmation. And now, you have the same chance to pass that flame forward. If this message has stirred something within you, let it travel further. Press like so, its warmth can spread. Share it so another heart can find shelter. And subscribe so you never miss the next ember of truth sent your way. Each action is simple, yet sacred. It's not a demand, it's a ripple. One click, one share, one word of agreement. These are like sparks caught by the wind, finding their way to souls still shivering in the dark. And if ever your spirit feels moved to go beyond, to give, to sustain the stream that keeps feeding hearts like yours, do it with peace. Think of it like tending a campfire. The flame already burns, but every log you place keeps others warm through the night. You're not paying for fire, you're preserving warmth. Your support is not a transaction, it's transformation. It keeps this flow of light alive, reaching corners where hope has gone silent. Each act of generosity becomes a match that lights another torch, another testimony, another beginning. To donate is to say, let the fire continue. It's like watering a tree that once shaded you. You give not out of obligation, but because beauty deserves to continue. You know what it's like to sit in the dark, waiting for a flicker, and you remember the gratitude when that flicker came. Now you get to be that flicker for someone else. Heaven sees every act of faith, every gesture of love, whether it's a click, a word, or a seed sown. Nothing goes unnoticed. The same God who multiplied loaves and fishes multiplies your smallest offering into miracles. you'll never fully see this side of eternity. You are part of something eternal now. Every action of faith becomes a thread woven into heaven's tapestry. Each like, each share, each offering is not about supporting a page, it's about sustaining a mission of light. You are helping the message reach the lost, the weary, the ones still walking through the same flames that once tested you. Remember, this fire doesn't just burn, it spreads. Your faith has already proven unshakable. Now let it become contagious. Let others see through your sharing that endurance is not rare, it's reachable. Let your generosity be a whisper to the broken. You are not alone. Light still lives. So, give if you feel led. Share if your heart stirs. Subscribe if you long to keep walking this journey of faith and fire together. None of it is required, but each act is sacred. Each gesture eternal. Because the fire that shaped you is not yours to keep, it's meant to shine. And through your heart, your faith, your giving, heaven keeps that flame alive. The darkness recognizes your name now. It remembers the sound of your endurance, the unbreakable rhythm of your faith. You have become known in the unseen realm, not for defeat, but for defiance against despair. Your very presence now disturbs what once intimidated you. The same forces that once sought to drown you now step back when your spirit awakens. You are no longer an observer in this spiritual war. You are a participant, a light bearer who walks through shadows without fear. Hell knows your name not because of who you are, but because of who lives inside you. The authority you carry is not self-made, it is inherited from the one who conquered death itself. Once, you were the target of darkness. Now, you are its disruption. Every step you take in faith sends tremors through the unseen. When you pray, the atmosphere bends. When you speak hope, despair weakens. When you rest in peace, confusion loses ground. That is the weight of divine authority resting upon your shoulders. You didn't earn this power through perfection. You received it through perseverance. You proved through storms, silence, and sorrow that your allegiance cannot be shaken. Heaven now trusts you with the mantle of influence. You have moved from being refined to being released, from being tested to being trusted. It is a dangerous thing for darkness when a believer finally understands who they are. The moment you stop seeing yourself as fragile and start seeing yourself as chosen, hell loses leverage. Because your awareness becomes armor. You no longer fear the fight. You understand that you are the weapon. The same spirit that raised Jesus from the grave now resides within you. That means resurrection power isn't a story, it's your reality. Every time you choose hope over despair, you demonstrate that power. Every time you forgive, every time you speak peace, you swing the sword of light in a world starved for truth. As written in the book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19, I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you. Those words are not distant, they are your inheritance. You have authority, not arrogance. Power, not pride. You walk as one who carries the signature of heaven upon your spirit. Demons do not tremble at human strength, they tremble at divine presence. And that presence walks within you. Your journey has made you dangerous to darkness. Every scar, every tear, every prayer whispered through pain has become a weapon forged in the fire of endurance. You don't need to shout to make hell shake, your obedience already does that. The devil cannot manipulate a heart that has already surrendered to God. You are learning to fight differently now, not with fear or frenzy, but with wisdom and worship. Your hands are trained for war, but your heart is anchored in peace. That balance is what makes you powerful. The greatest warriors are not the loudest, they are the calmest. They understand that victory was secured long before the battle began. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere adjusts, not because of your voice, but because of your vibration carrying heaven's frequency. You don't need to announce your authority. Light doesn't need permission to shine. It simply shines. And darkness has no choice but to retreat. There will still be opposition, but it no longer defines you. Attacks may come, but they will not prevail. You've learned how to interpret adversity differently. It no longer signals defeat, but confirmation that you're advancing. The enemy only resists what threatens him. That's why your warfare has increased, your influence has expanded. Now, every morning you wake. The unseen remembers the faithful one still stands. The one who should have fallen is still rising. The one who was supposed to quit is still believing. That alone is victory. That alone terrifies darkness. Never underestimate the sound your endurance makes in eternity. Heaven calls it worship, and hell calls it warning. You carry both melody and message. You are not just living for yourself, you are living as evidence that God's power still reigns through human hearts. And this is only the beginning. What you've endured was training. What comes next is territory. You will not only survive spiritual opposition, you will reclaim what was stolen. Every loss will return multiplied because you now know how to fight from victory, not for it. So, stand tall. The same heavens that recorded your endurance now release your authority. The light within you doesn't flicker, it commands. You have become the living proof that faith cannot be extinguished, that peace can be louder than panic, and that one steadfast soul can shift an entire atmosphere. You are no longer hunted, you are heralded. The darkness that once chased you now flees before you. Your endurance has turned into divine authority and radiant peace. Every breath you take proclaims victory. You walk not in fear, but in fullness, heaven's representative, clothed in quiet. Unshakable strength. The oil of endurance flows over your life now. You can feel it, can't you? That quiet strength that follows your steps. That inner calm that refuses to be shaken no matter what storms appear. It is not pride, it's proof. Proof that heaven's anointing rests upon you because you endured when others gave up. You have walked through wilderness seasons that emptied you, only to discover that emptiness was the space God needed to fill. Each valley carved more capacity for His Spirit to dwell. That's why your peace feels deeper now, your discernment sharper, your voice more grounded in grace. The oil didn't arrive through comfort, it came through crushing. Just like olives must be pressed to release their oil, your faith was pressed through trials. You felt the weight, the pressure, the silence. But that was where the oil began to flow. The pain that once threatened to break you became the vessel through which the anointing was poured. You are not broken, you are blessedly pressed. The fragrance of endurance is different. It doesn't boast, it simply lingers. When you walk into places, peace follows. When you speak, hearts soften. That's because your words no longer come from theory, they come from testimony. You have walked through fire and now carry the scent of heaven's oil. The world may not notice it, but the spirit realm does. Angels recognize your presence. The same heaven that watched your pain now pours reward. The oil upon you isn't ordinary, it carries assignment. It's the mark of those who have been refined through tears, shaped by storms, and taught by waiting, as declared in the book of Psalms, chapter 92, verse 10. You have exalted my horn like that of a wild ox. Fine oils have been poured upon me. That verse describes you now. Strength and anointing walking side by side. You are not fragile, you are fortified. Heaven has crowned you quietly, not with gold, but with grace. The oil of endurance upon you attracts divine favor because it carries heaven's fragrance. This oil is not only for survival, it's for service. You carry it to heal others, to restore hope, to ignite weary souls. Every person you meet is a field waiting for your overflow. The oil you carry is contagious. It brings peace to confusion and clarity to chaos. You once prayed for breakthrough, but God gave you oil instead because oil sustains longer than miracles. Miracles rescue moments, but oil restores lifetimes. That's why you keep standing when others fade. You've been anointed to outlast opposition. The oil you carry is also prophetic. It signifies completion, the ending of struggle, and the beginning of purpose. You have graduated from endurance to overflow. You no longer fight for peace. Peace flows from you. And now, heaven invites you to seal this realization with a prophetic act. Comment 333 below as your sign of divine fullness and heavenly alignment. The number 333 represents the presence of the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit working together in perfect unity on your behalf. When you type 333, you are declaring, I walk in divine agreement. It's your way of saying, every part of me, body, soul, and spirit is aligned with heaven's purpose. You're not just typing digits, you're acknowledging partnership with the fullness of God. This number symbolizes divine harmony. It is the echo of heaven's rhythm, creation, redemption, restoration, all converging in your story. When you comment it, you're saying, I receive the oil. I live in divine balance, and I move in perfect peace. From this moment forward, you will sense that harmony flowing through everything you do. Conversations will carry grace, decisions will hold wisdom, and your path will unfold with purpose. The oil upon you has matured. It is now movement, not merely memory. You are stepping into a season where everything aligns: the heavens above you, the spirit within you, and the destiny ahead of you. 333 is not just a number, it's heaven's confirmation that your waiting was worth it, and your anointing is complete. When you write 333, you're not typing digits, you're releasing a declaration. Those numbers are heaven's language of unity. They whisper, the Father guides me, the Son redeems me, the Spirit empowers me. It's your agreement with divine wholeness, your way of saying, all of me belongs to all of Him. Typing 333 means you recognize that your steps are no longer random, they're orchestrated. It's the symbol of divine order, where every delay has meaning and every detour has direction. When you write it, you are telling heaven, I'm aligned with your plan. I'm walking with the Trinity as one. This is not ritual, it's revelation. So, comment 333 below as your prophetic affirmation. Let it mark this very moment as sacred. You are not striving anymore, you are synchronized. The oil flows, the Spirit moves, and heaven nods in agreement. Everything about you now beats in divine rhythm. Even now, heaven celebrates you. There is a sound in the unseen that rises like music every time you remain faithful. You may not hear it with your ears, but your spirit knows it's real, the resonance of angels rejoicing over endurance. They sing not because you are flawless, but because you stayed when you could have walked away. You've been living through what others call ordinary days, but to heaven, these were monumental. Every act of quiet obedience built a melody that now echoes through eternity. The unseen celebration around you is not about achievements, it's about alignment. Heaven rejoices when the children of God walk in rhythm with divine will. And lately, you have been moving perfectly in time with heaven's heartbeat. There is joy in the courts of heaven when faith endures without recognition. Every unseen yes, every hidden prayer, every moment of surrender becomes part of heaven's song. You are the reason the celebration grows louder each day. Because your faith has not failed, it has flourished. Sometimes, you wonder if heaven really notices your small victories. But look closely at your life, the unexpected peace, the subtle favor, the way doors begin to open quietly. These are heaven's applause, gentle yet unmistakable. You may not see the angels, but they are near, clapping in silence every time you choose faith over fear. Your perseverance has not gone unnoticed. The Father delights in you. He has watched you fight battles others never knew existed. And instead of collapsing, you grew. Instead of cursing the storm, you learned to sing in the rain. That is why the celebration above you is not momentary, it is continual. Heaven doesn't just cheer when you win, it rejoices every time you refuse to quit. As written in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, verse 10, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. Now, imagine that same joy magnified by every act of faith, every heartbeat that still believes. The angels rejoice because every time you trust again, another victory for heaven is declared. Every time you forgive, light pushes back darkness. Every time you choose peace, heaven gains ground on earth. You are part of that divine celebration. You don't have to perform to be noticed, you simply have to believe. Heaven's attention is drawn to authenticity, not perfection. Your faith is not a performance, it's a partnership. And every moment you live aligned with heaven's will. The celebration continues. Think of the sound that rises when an orchestra plays in perfect unity, how each instrument blends into something bigger than itself. That's what happens when you walk in obedience. Your life becomes a note in heaven's song, harmonizing with others who carry the same light. Together, you create a melody that darkness cannot silence. You've been wondering why you sometimes feel sudden peace in moments of despair. It's because heaven's music touches your spirit. When you feel strength return from nowhere, that's the sound of celebration reaching you from the throne room. You are hearing joy through the veil. This is what your faith has built, not just endurance, but atmosphere. Heaven responds to faith by sending presence. The joy around you isn't random, it's response. Every hallelujah sung above your name carries stories of the tears you once cried, now turned into triumph. You may not see the party, but it's happening even now. The same angels that stood beside you during trials now dance because you overcame. The same heaven that tested you now toasts to your growth. This is not imagination, it's recognition. You have become heaven's reminder that faith still works. Let that reality sink in. You are celebrated, not for your perfection, but for your perseverance. Heaven honors those who remain when others retreat. And you, child of endurance, have proven that grace is stronger than grief. Even now, the Father smiles not as a distant observer, but as a proud creator who sees his reflection in your resilience. Every trial you faced added brilliance to your spirit. Every hardship you overcame became a note in heaven's hymn of victory. So rest tonight, knowing that heaven sings your name with joy. You are not forgotten, you are celebrated. You are not barely standing, you are beautifully shining. And as long as you keep believing, that divine celebration will never end, it will only grow louder. Heaven's celebration doesn't fade when the day ends, even in your sleep. The echo of divine joy surrounds you. Angels guard your rest, singing softly over the one who never surrendered. Each breath you take is worship now. The rhythm of your heartbeat joins heaven's music, a silent symphony of gratitude and grace. You are harmony in human form. Tomorrow will rise to the sound of favor. What once was warfare will become melody. Heaven dances, not because you're perfect, but because you're faithful, and that faith still lights the world. There are crowns that heaven gives quietly, long before the world ever sees them. You have one of those crowns resting on your spirit, now a crown forged in surrender, polished by faith and sealed by endurance. It doesn't sit on your head yet, it sits within your soul. God crowns you in secret places first, so that pride can never claim the glory. Every hidden act of trust, every unseen tear, every private prayer has built this crown. It's not made of gold or jewels, but of obedience and humility. The radiance of it can't be seen in mirrors. It's reflected in peace, in patience, in the way you carry compassion through hardship. Before heaven ever displays a crown in public, it tests the character that must wear it. That's why your journey felt long, why so many doors stayed closed until you were ready. The delay wasn't denial, it was preparation. Heaven wasn't withholding your reward, it was strengthening your neck to carry it. You were not being punished, you were being refined. Every delay was teaching you balance. Every heartbreak was expanding your empathy. Every setback was solidifying your humility. Now you understand why some crowns are heavy, because they carry the weight of wisdom. As recorded in the second letter of Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8, "Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing." That verse isn't distant scripture, it's prophecy fulfilled in your life. Your faith has earned heaven's recognition. You have not only longed for his appearing, you've lived like he is already near. That's what sets you apart. That's why the crown fits you. God doesn't crown talent, he crowns trust. He doesn't reward speed, he rewards steadfastness. You've shown both. You didn't rush the process, you allowed it to mold you. Every trial became a craftsman's hand, shaping you into someone who could reflect divine strength without arrogance. This is why humility has become your greatest beauty. You no longer chase validation, you carry revelation. You know that power isn't proven through control, it's revealed through surrender. When people look at you now, they see calm, but heaven sees royalty cloaked in compassion. You've been crowned in secret because God wanted to protect what he was building. Public crowns attract applause, but private ones attract angels. The unseen crown you wear tells the spirit world that you belong to the King, that your allegiance is sealed, your loyalty proven. When heaven crowns someone, darkness notices. The opposition intensifies, not because you are weak, but because you've been marked. But here is the miracle: this crown does not fall during storms. It's fastened by grace, not recognition. Even when the world misreads you, heaven keeps declaring your worth. Your crown will not always glitter to human eyes. Sometimes it will look like gentleness in chaos, forgiveness in betrayal, hope in desolation. But those are the moments when your crown shines brightest in heaven's sight. You were never meant to flaunt it, you were meant to carry it. True royalty doesn't need to announce itself, it simply walks differently. Every step you take now carries quiet authority, because your spirit knows who you are. You've been crowned, commissioned, and confirmed. There will come a time when this invisible crown will manifest openly, when people will look at your peace and say, "There's something different about them." They won't know what it is, but heaven will. You've been crowned in private, and public favor is only the echo of that coronation. Remember, the secret place is the throne room before the throne room. That's where kings are made, where prophets are prepared, where chosen ones are crowned long before the world sees them rise. And that's where you received yours, kneeling in surrender while heaven placed glory upon your heart. You no longer walk the same because you no longer wear what you once did. The ashes have turned into adornment, the pain into power. You are a living coronation, the embodiment of victory through submission. Heaven did not just crown you, it trusted you to carry its light into places crowns don't usually go. And that's your divine assignment now, to walk humbly while carrying heaven's royalty. Your authority isn't meant to dominate, but to illuminate. The true test of your crown is how softly you wear it. Power without gentleness is tyranny. But you've learned the art of mercy. Your journey has proven that glory can rest upon humility without corrupting it. That's why heaven rejoices over you. The crown fits not because of perfection, but because of purity. And as long as you keep walking in surrender, the crown will only shine brighter. Heaven's crown upon you isn't decoration, it's declaration. Every breath you take now carries royal resonance. Walk softly, shine quietly, for your humility makes the light unstoppable. You've risen from hidden places, crowned not with noise, but with knowing. The radiance of your faith no longer flickers, it glows steadily, like a lantern burning through midnight. The world may not understand how you shine after so much breaking, but heaven does. You've become the living proof that divine light survives any night. Now that you've been crowned, a new calling begins. You are not meant to keep the light only for yourself. You are meant to rise. Light bearer. This is not a burden, it's a blessing. The flame within you was never meant to be hidden beneath fear or hesitation. It was meant to travel, to find other hearts, to awaken sleeping spirits. When you speak, hope moves. When you stand, peace spreads. You are no longer just receiving revelation, you are releasing it. Every word you share, every truth you live, sends waves into the unseen. Heaven's river flows through you now, and each ripple touches someone waiting to believe again. There are souls walking in the same silence you once knew. Some are searching for signs that faith still breathes, that love still wins. They scroll through endless noise, looking for one spark of meaning. And then your light appears. A sentence, a smile, a shared message, something simple but divinely timed. That's how heaven multiplies through you. As the Gospel of Matthew records, chapter 5, verse 16, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." That is your commission now. You don't preach by force, you illuminate by being. You don't persuade, you radiate. Your light itself becomes testimony, calling others back to remembrance of their own divine design. And so, if this message has kindled something in you, let it breathe outward. Press like, not as reaction, but as reflection, a small candle joining another in the dark. Share it not out of duty, but out of compassion for someone else might need this flame more than you know. Subscribe if your heart longs to stay near the flow of these words, as one would linger near a hearth on a cold night, because sometimes faith needs a place to warm its hands. And if you ever feel stirred to give, do it softly, freely. Giving is like adding wood to the fire. It doesn't create the flame, it sustains it. You don't donate to feed an algorithm. You offer a piece of yourself to keep warmth alive for strangers you'll never meet. Think of it as planting light instead of money, seeds of radiance sown into unseen soil. Every act of support becomes a quiet prayer, a spark that travels farther than you imagine. One day, someone will feel the glow and not know it was your hand that helped it burn. That's how divine generosity works. It hides its giver, but reveals its glory. This is not obligation, it's invitation. You are never asked, you are inspired. The choice is sacred because it's yours alone. Heaven delights not in the gift, but in the freedom with which it's given. Every act born from love carries eternity's weight. If you choose to give, do it as worship. Whisper over your offering, "Let this light reach where my hands cannot," and heaven will do the rest. The same God who multiplied bread multiplies kindness. The same Spirit who comforted you through words like these will use your support to reach another soul waiting in silence. Remember, flames live longer when shared. Every time you pass light forward through words, through love, through generosity, you defy the darkness that once tried to swallow you. You are no longer merely surviving in faith. You are now sustaining others with it. There is no pressure here, only presence. Every gesture of support, every quiet act of engagement becomes a thread in this growing tapestry of light. Together, we become something beautiful, an invisible network of souls carrying warmth across distances unseen. And when you comment below, let it be like dropping a pebble into holy water, each word sending ripples of light through unseen hearts. Your comment isn't noise, it's presence. A simple sentence of gratitude, a phrase of faith, can become the spark that comforts another wanderer scrolling through the dark. So, if you feel the nudge, let your light flow outward. Like, share, comment, subscribe, give, not because you have to, but because you want to, because something inside you recognizes that beauty multiplies when released. And if you give, know this, your kindness becomes a candle on heaven's altar. It glows even when you sleep. Somewhere, someone will awaken to hope again because you decided to keep the light alive. The fire that once saved you now burns through you. Keep it steady. Keep it sacred. Let your generosity, your words, your spirit, all of it, become light that never fades. And as the night gives way to dawn, your flame still glows. You've become the keeper of warmth, the quiet proof that love, once shared, never runs out, it only multiplies. There is a glory moving toward you now, steady, deliberate, unstoppable. It does not rush. It arrives in rhythm with destiny. What once seemed delayed is now unfolding precisely on time. Every tear, every trial, every quiet act of faith has aligned you with this moment. The glory you are about to encounter is not sudden. It has been gathering around you all along, waiting for permission to reveal itself. You've felt it, haven't you? That subtle shift in the air. The sense that something unseen is drawing nearer. It's not imagination, it's manifestation. Heaven is responding to everything you've sown in secret. The glory about to find you is not reward, it's recognition. It's heaven saying, you made it through the hidden years. Now, let the light return to you. You've endured seasons of delay that felt like denial. But now, the purpose behind every pause becomes clear. God wasn't ignoring you, He was aligning you. You were never waiting for something, you were being prepared by something. The glory that's coming requires a version of you that only endurance could produce. As written in the book of Haggai, chapter 2, verse 9, the glory of this present house will be greater than the glory of the former house, says the Lord Almighty. That promise now breathes over your life. What's ahead will not resemble what's behind. The same hands that allowed the breaking are the ones now bringing the blessing. The days to come will hold restoration so complete that the pain which once defined you will become the soil from which joy grows. Glory never arrives empty-handed. It brings recompense returns for every loss, clarity for every confusion, and beauty for every wound. You are entering a season where what was stolen will be restored with interest. Heaven compensates, not partially, but abundantly. There were moments when you questioned if the struggle was worth it. You wondered if the quiet prayers even mattered. But now heaven answers with evidence, not explanation. You'll see opportunities flow toward you without striving, connections form without chasing, and peace anchor itself without effort. These are signs that glory has found your address. This isn't the kind of glory that shouts. It's not fame or spotlight, it's fullness. It's waking each morning with peace that can't be shaken, joy that doesn't depend on circumstance, strength that doesn't need applause. The glory that's coming is internal before it's external. It will fill you first, then spill through you. And when it does, you won't have to prove anything. The transformation will speak for itself. People will notice the difference not just in your blessings, but in your being. The same eyes that once pitied you will now perceive grace radiating through you. They'll sense that something divine surrounds you, even if they can't explain it. This glory doesn't erase your scars, it redefines them. What once represented pain will soon testify of purpose. The very memories that hurt to recall will become evidence of divine faithfulness. God is turning every bruise into brilliance, every fracture into foundation. Glory doesn't come to those who chased comfort. It rests on those who embraced calling. You did. You stayed when it made no sense. You loved when it wasn't returned. You believed when nothing moved. That's why this glory fits you. It was designed specifically for your resilience. Don't be surprised when peace finds you in unexpected places, when doors open without your knocking, when favor greets you like an old friend. That's the rhythm of restoration, effortless grace flowing in every direction. What used to be hard will now become harmony. The light you're stepping into won't blind you, it will balance you. It will not inflate your pride, but strengthen your purpose. You will carry this glory the way a tree carries fruit, quietly, naturally, beautifully. Those who draw near to you will taste peace and know they've encountered something holy. Every seed you planted in faith is now breaking through the soil. The waiting was never wasted, it was germination. Heaven didn't forget it was forming the roots of your next harvest. Now the season of hiddenness ends, and the season of visible blessing begins. You won't need to chase it. Glory recognizes its own. Like dawn recognizing the horizon, it finds you because you were born for it. Everything you lost was preparing space for what's coming. Everything that broke was making room for light. You have become the vessel heaven trusts to carry abundance without arrogance. That's why this glory will stay. It has found a heart humble enough to hold it. And as it settles upon you, the world will see not your strength, but God's reflection in your resilience. The glory about to find you is not random, it's reward for endurance. Testimony turned tangible. Heaven has already started to unfold it. And soon the earth will echo the same word. Heaven speaks now. Well done. You have proven unshakable. Heaven has written your name among those who endured until the end. The tests that once terrified you have now become your testimony. The weight that once bowed your shoulders has turned into the wings that lift you. You have crossed from survival into sovereignty, the quiet reign of one who knows peace cannot be taken. Everything you've walked through was not for destruction, but for distinction. Every heartbreak, every delay, every sleepless night has etched divine strength into your spirit. You are not who you were when the story began. The same eyes that once looked upward in confusion now shine with understanding. You've seen the pattern pain births purpose. Silence conceives wisdom, and waiting grows wings. You have proven that faith does not need applause to remain faithful. The heavens themselves bear witness that your belief stood firm when logic broke down. You walked through fire and did not lose your song. You sat in silence and still whispered, "Thank you." That's the kind of faith that shifts worlds, the faith that heaven calls eternal, as declared in the book of Revelation. Chapter 3, verse 11, "Hold on to what you have, so that no one will take your crown." That is your charge now. You have the crown, you have the calling, you have the light. What remains is to hold it. Protect your peace. Guard your purity. Cherish your connection with God above all else, for the world will change again. Winds will rise again, but you have already been proven. You don't need to fear being tested. You've already passed the hardest exam heaven could give. The storms refined your heart until it beat in rhythm with divine will. You don't react from pain anymore, you respond from presence. You no longer beg for peace, you embody it. You are the calm in the room, the anchor in the crowd, the reminder that grace is still alive in the earth. Your faith has become fragrance. It moves quietly, soft but unstoppable, like incense that fills every hidden space. Wherever you walk, you leave traces of heaven. People may not understand it, but they will feel it. You have become the evidence that light lives in human form. What you've gained can't be taken. Titles may fade, seasons may shift, but endurance becomes identity. You carry the weight of wisdom that no system can teach. You know how to walk in storms without sinking, how to rest while winds roar. That is the mark of the unshakable, the ones who have learned to see God even in chaos. Do you remember how afraid you once were, how every delay felt like a denial? Those moments are now testimonies of transformation. The same places that once broke you now bless you. Every scar has turned into script written, proof that nothing can separate you from the love that sustained you. There's a stillness resting on you now, not born from exhaustion, but from completion. You've arrived at a peace that doesn't depend on the world's rhythm. It's the stillness of one who knows they've done what heaven asked. You have become the fulfilled promise, the answered prayer, the living prophecy. Heaven has not just recorded your endurance, it celebrates it. The Father has seen the cost of your faith and declared it worthy of reward. Angels move differently around you now, not as guards, but as witnesses to grace fulfilled. You've become one of heaven's reference points, proof that trust works, that surrender wins, that light never loses. And now, as this chapter closes, something deeper begins. Not a new storm, not another test, but a greater release. You will see the ripple of everything you've endured spread outward, touching people, healing stories, rewriting destinies. The legacy of your endurance will outlive you. Long after your words fade, your faith will continue speaking through the lives it inspired. You were not chosen to shine for a season, you were chosen to carry eternity's light into time itself. Every breath you take now echoes with meaning. You are the torchbearer, the proof that heaven invests in humanity, that love can dwell in fragile frames and still remain unbreakable. So rest, unshakable one. You've done what few ever dare. You believed without proof, loved without guarantee, trusted without clarity, and heaven saw it all. Now peace crowns you, purpose surrounds you, glory walks beside you. The same voice that called you at the beginning now whispers again, well done. Faithful one, you have proven unshakable. The heavens lean close when your name is spoken now. You have become melody and message intertwined, a living psalm that reminds creation that light never forgets its source. Your endurance is the rhythm heaven dances to tonight. And as dawn breaks on this final page, heaven watches with pride. The chosen one still stands, not weary but radiant. You are the echo of every answered prayer, the final proof that faith real, raw, relentless always wins. If this message touched something deep inside you, let that light not end here. What you carry now is not just emotion, it's energy, sacred and alive. The words you read were never meant to stop at your screen. They were meant to ripple outward, to find others who need the same reminder that carried you tonight. So if your spirit feels stirred, press like not out of habit, but as a silent amen, a gentle agreement with heaven's echo that faith still stands. Each like is another flicker of flame, joining this constellation of souls who refuse to let hope die. Share it like a lantern passed from one hand to another. Somewhere, someone sits in silence, waiting for a word, a sign, a spark. Your small act of sharing may be the miracle they've prayed for. You never know how far light travels when it leaves your hand. And if this place has become a refuge for you, subscribe to stay connected. Think of it not as following a channel, but as returning to a sacred fire whenever your spirit grows cold. The same warmth that found you here will be waiting every time you return. Finally, if you ever feel led to give, Let it be your whisper of gratitude. Giving is like pouring oil on the flame. It doesn't buy the fire, it keeps it alive. Every offering, every seed, every act of generosity becomes a beam, stretching toward another broken heart somewhere across the earth. You are never asked, you are invited. And in that invitation, beauty blooms. Like, share, comment, subscribe, give. Do it not from pressure, but from peace. Because light, when shared, never diminishes, it multiplies.